Hi, I'm Kimberly Corp.
And I'm Catherine Corp.
And we're the owners of Pilates on Fifth here in Manhattan and the creators of PilatesOnFifthOnline.com. Today we're here to talk to you about your feet.
Your feet.
Because when your feet hurt, you're miserable, pretty much.
Yes, and it ruins the day.
It does ruin the day. So one little thing, if you have any sharp pain or searing pain and every time you step it hurts, probably it's not time to do these stretches, it's time to go see a podiatrist.
Right. We're talking about just like discomfort. Like chronic discomfort is what we're talking about.
Right, and what you can do when you get home at night if your feet are killing you to sort of make sure it doesn't carry over to the next day. As Pilates instructors and studio owners, we hear a lot of times people get here and they're doing an ab exercise, but we're like, where do you feel this? Like, my feet are cramping. And we're like, okay, that was not the goal. So
yes.
These are all exercises and stretches meant to release your calves and your feet. So let's first talk about the feet because they are supporting your entire body.
And they're much more complicated than you may think.
So we have, what is it, 3 arches. So you have an arch going this way and then 2 arches coming back. We have a little picture up.
Yeah.
And then you have 26 bones, 33 joints, 29 muscles, or how many muscles?
19 muscles.
19 muscles, I'm blind, so 19 muscles. But 800 nerve endings. So
which explains why when you step on something, the pain is disproportionate to the amount of damage that's actually done.
Right. You stump your toe and you think the world has ended, and
yes.
it's actually
It's
just fine. Yeah. But here's a little trivia you can impress people at the next party. There are more sweat glands and nerve endings per square centimeter in your feet than anywhere else in the body.
That explains a lot.
So.
But it's also good to know that the pads, like the cushiony part of the bottom of your feet, it shrinks as we age. So it makes sense that as we get older, we get a little bit more foot pain naturally.
There's like collagen and elastin that sort of dissipates. So our feet do lose their cushiony aspects.
So we want to keep them as healthy and pliable as possible.
Yes. So why we're going to start with calf stretches is because there is a back line of fascia that runs from the bottom of the feet up the back line to the top of the head. This is from Thomas Myers Anatomy Trains, a brilliant guy. So basically from the tops of the toes, the little tips of the toes, the back line of fascia comes this way and then it comes up. You can put your foot down now. Up the calves, up the hamstring, then up the back, up the neck, and then over the top of the head to the eyebrows. So there is a theory that releasing the back of the neck can also help the bottom of the feet. We're not going to go there today.
Yeah, we're not that's kind of outside us.
But we like to stretch the calves before we stretch the bottom of the feet, just to sort of start with what might be the root problem, which is the calves. So I'm going to do it holding onto a bar. You can do it holding onto a chair. Catherine's going to do it here. So one thing, when you stretch this way with the legs straight, the knee straight, and the heel down, you are stretching the gastrocnemius.
Which is this muscle right here. This big muscle right here. I might as well show this.
Yeah, you have 2 heads of the gastrocnemius. So you want to make sure, sometimes when you're here, you can kind of shift one way and then the other, and you might feel it more. Like if you twist your hips one way and then you twist your hips the other, you may feel it more. So the key is, though, you must keep the knee straight. Right. Once you bend the knee, you're getting the soleus.
Soleus. So the soleus, basically, just for our intents and purposes, it starts about here and then it connects through the Achilles tendon. So
both connect through the Achilles tendon,
Both do. But when you bend your knee, you're really getting just the soleus. So as you can see, when Kimberly bends her knee, her heel pops up. We are very tight in our soleuses, solei.
Latin, plural.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the goal is to aim for the heel to come down.
Yes.
So once she's in her gastroc stretch, she's then going to bend her knee to go into the soleus stretch. When the heel pops up, she's still trying to aim for it to come down. And do what is comfortable to you. This is not competitive stretching.
Right.
The worst thing you can do is compare yourself to the next guy and think, oh, well, this person can do it this way. I must as well. We're all very different. We're born with different links in our muscles.
Right. And so it's very important, though, to do these unweighted, meaning notice I still have weight on my other foot. Do not hang off a stair. And you see a lot of people jump up on a stair and just hang off and sort of bounce. At that point, you're asking your muscles to both hold you up and lengthen at the same time, which is not really intuitive if you think about it.
They told us, Dr.
Yes, yeah. So it's much better if you really want to do a nice lengthening, a release of the muscle. The muscle can actually release if you're still weighted
so
with
in
this leg.
position, the bulk of her weight is on her left leg, and she's just allowing her right leg to
Yes.
stretch. The bulk of her weight is not on her right leg.
From here, you can start to open up the bottom of the feet. So notice the toes are flexed and the heel's up. So you can sort of, like you're kneading dough. And you can do it not holding on, get you a nice core balance work. But you're stretching those toes as much as possible. And doing it to the extent possible. We suggest doing this in socks or bare feet, because if you're doing it in tennis shoes or sneakers, it automatically limits your range of motion.
And you know what, when you're in the tennis shoes and stuff, you can still kind of claw the floor.
Yeah.
And we don't want to do that. You want your toes to be as wide as possible.
Yeah. So then we're going to have Catherine go ahead and sit down. and we're going to show some stretches and little exercises you can do here. So first of all, I mean, you could do this standing too, where you keep the ball of the foot down and just roll. So we suggest a chair as well, because you can do this at work under your desk if you want to loosen up those ankles. And then you go the other way, of course. And it being unweighted means that you can focus on the release of the muscles and the mobilization of the joint rather than any strain. If I were to do it here, that's not very healthy.
Right.
And you can also stretch your toes here by pulling it, and you can slide your toes back. So sometimes if I'm standing in line, even if I'm in heels, you can, ladies, you can slip your heel out and just kind of slide your foot back and do a nice little
It's a really nice stretch for the plantar fascia.
And it's not so, you know, it's not like I'm stretching, everyone. You can just sort of get it,
Right.
you know, sneak it in.
One more thing that you can do, and this is something that when I sprained my ankle a few years ago, I was told, is to try to write the alphabet with your foot. So A, B, C, you'll find that you're much more adept on one foot than the other, but it actually covers all ranges of motion. And it's really funny to kind of like have the right leg and the left leg, or right foot and left foot compete.
Yeah, and it's very important to have healthy mobile ankles, because then you're not going to sprain them as easily. I think life requires a lot of shifts, like when the sidewalk changes in its levels right to left, you want to make sure your ankles can accommodate that. So before we go into the ball of the foot's little release stretches, there's something, wait, ball, okay. There's something you can do as a little warm-up. This, if you've ever sprained your ankle, this is often given as a physical therapist. We're not physical therapists, but this is often given.
I'm going to make myself do it with my left foot, because I've sprained my left ankle twice.
And so you're basically, she's just pulling the towel towards her. So that will fatigue you pretty quickly, because all the little intrinsic muscles of the feet are very tiny, and they're only strong to a point.
And then what you have to do after you pull it all, I'm not going to pull it all the way in, then you have to try to
push it back.
Oh,
but
out,
if you can, it doesn't work unless you get your heel on it.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. And then you can kind of
push it
spread
out.
it.
But it's the same action. So those are strengthening exercises.
Yeah. Then as another little, it's sort of a strength and a stretch at the same time. We'll do like toe flip-flops. So it's like she lifts her big toe, and then she presses her big toe down and lifts the others. And you can do this under your desk. So we're very good at the under the desk foot exercise. Even when we worked in Japan, I had a little ball that I had under my desk.
Yeah, and we'll do a close-up of this, but you can see with my feet that on my right foot the toes can stay nice and long, and on my left foot they kind of
curl.
Rip a little bit.
So what you want to do is you want to think of trying to lengthen, release. You want to think of them lengthening out, and so if you can lengthen that way.
Yes.
All right, so then let's grab our ball here, and you can use, we have these little massage balls. The Pilates on Fifth logos on them. Or you can use a tennis ball. And you can't use a golf ball. It's brutal because it's tiny and it's really hard, and so it's like, yeah.
It's very acute.
Yes, whereas a tennis ball or these little massage balls are a little more forgiving. So first of all, lift your foot. One thing we'll lift up. We want to go from heel to ball of the foot, but also on the angle to more of the big toe, and then an angle more to the pinky toe. So what she'll do is she'll start with it at her heel, and then she rolls it in sort of the W. So you're going from your heel up the middle and then up each diagonal to the thing. And then you can just roll it around wherever it feels good. You can also, you can do it sitting as well. I might as well enjoy myself too.
Yeah, exactly. I was like,
you can also do it where you kind of get it right at that little part of the arch.
Yes.
Where you can sort of sit there. So let's say you're working on a presentation and you're like, oh, you can just get your little thing, and that way your feet can be resting on this, and they can be releasing while you work.
Yes.
So it's not going to kill you. Right?
So basically there's not like one set thing. If you find a part that's a little bit like, ooh, stay there a little bit.
Yeah.
And it should not be the pain, like it should be like 3 on a scale of 10, not
Right.
11 on a scale of 10. If it's unbearable, that's your body saying that's probably not a good idea.
Another thing, because we're giving you a lot so you can pick and choose what works for you during the day, is if you're sitting, you can just sort of move your own toes, like play one little piggy with yourself.
I was just thinking the same
Yeah,
thing.
and so sort of separate them, like you can see I'm pulling them apart, you know, wide, up and down, and sort of, and give yourself a little foot massage. And don't forget the tops of your feet. Like we don't suggest balls, but you can get your, you know, thumbs in those little metatarsals there and sort of relax all those muscles. And then with your fingers, you can get all up into the arches there, and that can feel really nice. The other thing you can do with a towel, and Catherine will use a band, is, now, if you do not have the hamstring flexibility to sit with your legs straight, then you'll definitely want to use a chair and keep your heel on the ground, because this is about the calves. But if you can sit on the floor, you can even use a towel if you're at the gym or something, and you just wrap around the ball of your foot and you're pulling back. But you have to make sure when you do this that your knee is straight. So you have to pull that kneecap up.
Very
because
important.
the gastrocnemius crosses 2 joints, both the knee and the ankle. So if you're doing just this, you're only getting soleus. You must straighten the knee to get the gastrocnemius as well. And that can be nice. And of course, you'll switch feet, and we'll do both. And then if you have a foam roller or a rolling pin, you can go in your kitchen, you can do sort of rolling exercises with your
Shall I
fingers.
grab the foam roller?
You can grab the foam roller. And while she's grabbing the foam roller, there's a little point on the outside of your calf that if you put a ball there right under it and just let the weight of your leg sit there, ooh, you'll find it pretty quickly. It can be quite agonizing in a good way, right?
Yes.
Oh, yes. So we have this 3-in-1 foam roller, because you can see there's an outer and then 1, 2, 3, and 1. And come a little closer. I'll let you do this one since I still have the ball under that. And you can roll the calves out that way.
This side so you can see.
Yes.
So you want to roll the medial side of your calves. So this is the belly more here. You can roll here, and then you can also roll. These are called the peroneals or the fibularis, depending on what school you come from. And you can roll the outside. But the point is that you want to go with the tension that you can. Then you want to roll the anterior tibialis. Avoid your actual tibia, your shin.
Shin bone,
it just hurts. It just there's no good that will come of that.
No
and
good.
you can just roll and roll.
Yeah, and so that can be nice to release all of those. And lastly, before you go to bed at night, make sure, especially if you travel a lot and you stay in hotel rooms where they've sausaged you into your bed because they've made those sheets nice and tight. When we were on tour as dancers, we would get into and we would kick to make sure that the sheets were very loose. And I would make sure I really flexed my feet. That means pull your toes towards you before going to bed. The worst thing you can do is sleep with your feet super pointed like that, because all that does is shorten the Achilles, it shortens all the calf muscles. And when you wake up in the morning, I think many people have had plantar fasciitis, that when you step down, your heel touches and it's agony. That can be helped by making sure you do not sleep this way. So one thing I like to do when I wake up in the morning and I'm still hitting the snooze button is sometimes right before I get up, I will flex my feet and also just roll my ankles sitting in bed. It can be a nice way too.
I mean, look at your pets, your cats, your dogs, they do the same thing. The minute they wake up, they do something like this.
Yes.
They stretch.
Yeah, so make sure that your toes are nice. And then finally, do not hang off the back of a stair. We already said that one. Be careful about any shoes that make you grip your toes every time you take a step. A lot of people have to do that with flip-flops. That's why we don't wear flip-flops. For some reason, every time I step, I have to do this.
Yeah, you don't want your toes to claw the ground.
And some people are great with bare feet, and some people aren't. We have very high arches. So like when we teach in the studio, I have little shoes I wear with an arch support, because if I go barefoot, my feet are in agony. Within an hour, I'd pretty much say. So I hope that helps with some foot stretches for you, and hope your feet feel better soon. See you next time.